how do you know if your hormones are bioidentical? So we have a lot of women on the call today that are on hormones already, either prescribed from their doctor, well, obviously prescribed from their doctor, but maybe they're not sure if they're bioidentical and they're not sure if they're not bioidentical. So how you know? So the only hormones, our human hormones, the ones that we're talking about replacing, the sex hormones are estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. Some people replace pregnenolone in early stages, but we're just mostly talking about estrogen. And there's two forms of estrogen that we replace. There's estradiol. It's estradiol, estradiol, and estriol. So estradiol is the main power hormone that does all the things that we think about with estrogen. And then estriol is a weaker form of estrogen that kind of is its kind of counterpart, and it helps with like dryness, vaginal dryness. It helps with some bones, and it also is cancer protective. So your body is used to getting those two estrogens together. We also make a form of estrogen called estrone. It's mostly made by our fat cells, doesn't really have any benefit. If you make enough estrone, you can convert some of that over to estradiol, which is the reason why we are most likely gaining a lot of fat in menopause. If you notice that it's really hard for you to lose weight, especially around the midsection, that's your body looking out for you. That's your body saying, hey, Janet, I see that you don't have any estrogen. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to try to store as much fat as possible. And those fat cells will make estrone. And if we get enough fat cells, you'll be able to get a little bit of estradiol. Unfortunately, that's not a very efficient process, and you have to store a lot of fat cells to get enough estradiol to help with any of your symptoms. So how do we know if they're bioidentical? It has to say estradiol, estriol, progesterone. And so if there's anything before the word estrogen or before estradiol, like sometimes it might say conjugated estrogen, or it might be a CEE, which is a conjugated equine estrogen. Those are not good. Those are synthetic. Conjugated equine estrogen is horse estrogen. And we are not horses. Horses have like 17 different types of estrogen. None of them are estradiol or estriol. So definitely don't want that. And then they also have ones that are called ethanol estrogen, or even ethanol estradiol, or methanol estradiol. You don't want those. So you don't want anything before the estradiol. It has to say estradiol, not estrogen. For those of my women in the UK, I know there can be an O before the estrogen. It could be oestrogen. That's how you guys say it over across the pond, as we like to say. You guys always put the O in front of it. That's it's correct in the UK, but in America, we just call it estrogen without the O. So that is fine. So you don't want anything before the estrogen. Now, progesterone, if it's bioidentical, it'll be called progesterone. If it's synthetic, it's going to be called progestin or medroxyprogesterone acetate. So you want it to actually say progesterone. So you want to make sure that there's nothing before or after those words except the letters USP. So USP stands for United States Pharmacopoeia. This is not going to be the case over in the UK, but here in the United States, those three letters actually tell you that the product, the actual estrogen or the progesterone or the testosterone or the DHEA that's in that container that you've just gotten, that it's what it claims to be, that the potency is presented on the label in the right amount, that's free from impurities, contaminants, or unwanted ingredients, and that it will actually dissolve and absorb into the body as it's supposed to. So there's a lot of online influencers, doctors, gynecologists that are selling their own hormone products, but they're not USP. And so you may have a bottle that has hormones in it. You may get a bottle that has no hormones. You may get a bottle that has synthetic hormones, and there's no regulation on it. And so we actually test women all the time that are on like a, a brand of hormones that's sold by an online influencer, sold online without a prescription. And a lot of times, especially if it doesn't have the USP on it, their numbers do not match. And so again, just make sure it says estradiol, estriol, and progesterone. Those are the ones that usually get